Good evening, paranormal universe. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to say there. That's why there was the long pause. I swear I wasn't Obama-ing it, but we are back, and I'm calling this a new season. So every season on TV has a break in between the seasons, and since we've made a whole bunch of changes, well, not a whole bunch, but a lot of changes. It's a new season. So it's season 2, episode 1 of the Odyssey Hour. We are, of course, the Odyssey Paranormal Society team, sans Mr. Sam Albus, who apparently had better things to do tonight. But that's okay, because we've got, for the first time on the show, even though he's been back for a while now, Mr. Cameron. So welcome to the show, Cameron. Also welcome back to the team, even though I know it's been a while, but it's been a while since you came back. But because we have now moved to Sunday night, you are able to join us.
Very excited about that.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you get to watch us pick and choose all of our topics and then never get to put in your 2 cents about it. Now you can. So we are back. So every Sunday night, not every night, every Sunday night at 8 p.m. you will see us. For at least the winter, I hope, or until we get so tired of each other, we just say F it. So thinking that we're probably going to run into summer before that happens. But anyway, some of the new things that are going on this year. We have a new format. Obviously, last year we were doing where everybody just kind of throws out their topics spontaneously, and nobody knows what they are except the person who's telling them. I felt that led to a lot of ums and a lot of I don't knows. And let me think on that. So this season, what we're going to try to do is pick topics before the show and more in depth instead of what do you think about Bigfoot? It's going to be more discussion type things. I'm hoping that will lead not only to more audience participation, because you're all perfectly welcome to throw in your ideas, throw in your opinions, ask questions, regardless of whether it's on the topic or not. But and kind of just explore the paranormal in more in depth. But we'll still throw in a couple, short topics or whatever, just for fun. We are also going to have a bunch of new guests on. Already have gotten. Need to pick the date, but Susan Slaughter will be coming back. She's very excited about that. We have a new friend named James Wallen, who is a 32nd degree Master Mason. And he told me today that he would love to come on. So I think a discussion with you guys just about Freemasonry, because we're going to run into it all the time. Whether we're investigating cemeteries, whether we're, they're all over the place. I can't imagine even residential cases not having some sort of, not every time, but some sort of Freemason brotherhood type connection to it. So I think learning more about it and just the history of it is really going to be interesting. So yeah, and then there's there's another couple people that I know will come on. I just have to actually tell them that they're going to. So I'm not going to throw any names out beyond that. But so we're going to have a great season for you guys. So first things up, we have a lot of stuff coming up. Next weekend, which is the 15th, Saturday the 15th, Jerry Ayers with Supernatural Investigators of Minnesota, along with Cat Paranormal, Search for Spirits, and some other team. I don't know. Sorry, I can't remember the fourth one. They are putting on a smaller convention down in Fairbolt. And we will be a part of that. So if you want to come out and see us down in Fairbolt, just look for the Para Connection Expo. You probably do a search on Facebook, or you can go to like Supernational Investigators of Minnesota's Facebook page. They'll have information there. But I believe it's at one of the schools. And that will be next Saturday, just Saturday. Unfortunately, we won't be able to present. I really wanted to present, but they're all going to do it. So we just have to sit there and look pretty. So easy day for us.
It's very easy for us to look pretty.
That's what I mean. That's what I said. It's going to be an easy day because it's easy for us to sit there and look pretty. But we will have EVPs for people to hear, and videos to watch if they want to see some of our video evidence. We'll have our merch if they would like any ops merch. And Lauren will have some of her crocheted goods.
Spooky season focused for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people can crochet paranormal equipment.
That's true. It will be for sale. So if you can't buy the real thing, you can buy the crochet imitation.
That's right.
It's a lot cheaper, I can tell you that.
And sometimes, depending on the equipment, you might get the same results.
That's actually unintended, but you're right.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
If you have the REM pod sitting out there and it does nothing the entire night, you might as well just have had the crocheted one because you would have gotten the same results.
Yeah, it's about the same size, so you could probably get away with it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe you could trick them.
I feel like if anybody looked pretty closely, you would be able to tell.
But a spirit who's never seen one before?
It's not electronic. I feel like wouldn't they be able to tell it's not electronic?
Who knows?
It's just
you can feel like the static around it.
Maybe we can get an EVP of a frustrated spirit going, "Damn it, why isn't it working?"
Oh god. New challenge for us.
But yeah, so come out and join us there. And then obviously Halloween weekend at the Egan Community Center. You can come out and see us there. We will be presenting Sunday morning, kicking off the Sunday extravaganza. But you'll be able to see us there as well, along with all of the other presenters, including Dave Schrader, Doug Hychek, Mr. Kenneth Boggle will be there, not only doing readings, but also doing a gallery reading. And I watched his in Vegas for like 15 minutes, and that's all it took. I left because I had to, but I already had tears in my eyes. I mean, it was amazing watching that guy work. So definitely going to be a very huge deal for everybody to be there. And then, if that's not enough, Sunday night, so obviously there will be no show, but you can come out and see us live that Sunday night, October 30th, at the Leduc Mansion, where we will be doing a presentation there on all of the evidence that we have collected over our investigations, our personal stories and experiences there. It is the anniversary of the 105th. Well, it's the celebration of the 105th anniversary of William's death. So, which he died in the house. So that's going to be amazing. And like I said, it's going to be all of our evidence, and it's going to be done by candlelight. So add a little creepiness to it. It's free. Nothing to just show up to the Leduc Mansion. Starts at 8 p.m. And come and join us. Last time we were there was Scott, 4 years ago?
For you and me?
Well, I mean, that's the point that I was trying to make. The last time we were there for a presentation was the night I met you.
It was 5 years ago, yeah.
5 years ago?
Yep.
I thought there was one other time. I swear
that-
there was another time when Haley and Sam joined in.
But that was the first time that I joined you and Mike. For
That was an investigation.
yeah,
I'm talking about a presentation.
yeah.
Okay.
The last
Really?
time we presented there was 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Chad Lewis started out, and then you guys came.
Oh, believe me, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that night, just not how long
Right.
ago it was.
Yeah.
Holy mother of pearl. Okay. 5 years ago it's been. So we've gotten more evidence, more EVPs, more personal experiences at that place. So it's going to be a great time for that one. All right. So on with the show, as they say. Let me just first start out by saying, how was everybody's summer?
Busy and good.
It's been a pretty good summer.
Very busy.
Scott,
What
same
summer
as every
isn't
other
busy?
day.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, detailed as always. I like it. So I guess let's just get on with the show then. So the first topic that we are going to hit, I threw out two. So we'll start with one and see if we have time for the second. Because I know that our two new investigators, which I told them that I didn't want it for this show because I wanted this to be like I called it the original six. But so we'll probably have them on with us next week starting. But we have two new investigators, Alex and Logan. And as long as they pass the rest of the team test, which is, I guess, everybody but Lauren, unless they haven't passed yours yet.
No, they definitely have. They're very green. But who
They are
isn't
very
when they
green.
start out in this field? So I think they'll do great. I'm very excited for them to start.
Yes. But Alex is like a philosophy major, graduated with a degree in philosophy. And so these first two, I think, are very philosophical type questions. And I know she really wants to hit up that second one. She was telling me that she's going to go and reread a bunch of her books and she's going to highlight and bookmark. And I'm like, I really don't think you know exactly what this is all about. I'm like, you really don't need to do any of that. But we shall see. So topic number one. And this is something we've briefly talked about with another question last year. So I'd like to get more in depth with it. And that is, what is the line? At what point do we say that somebody has died or that somebody is dead? Okay, you guys all knew this beforehand, and I'm still getting silence.
Okay.
I
well,
say
Sam,
when
you-
there's
yeah, go ahead,
absolutely
Cameron.
no activity revolving around that person whatsoever, no feeling. Not even just like, not a heartbeat. I mean, like, if we go in on an investigation and there's nothing surrounding them, that's dead.
Okay, so you believe that when the body dies, they're dead.
No, like, on a soul level. If there's no activity. Like, because, like, a heartbeat means you're dead physically, but that doesn't mean energetically you are dead.
Right. That's kind of the point, because as investigators, we always seem to, I don't say we, but investigators a lot of times like to talk about when the person died. When did you die? How did you feel when you were murdered? Whatever. You see it all the time on the shows. I've been on investigations where that question has been asked when you talk about a person's death. But if they're there intelligently, I'm not talking about residual energy now, because we all know that there's nothing to it. are they dead?
I think it's an interesting question in which you kind of have to define what death
That's what I'm looking to do tonight.
means to
Let's
you.
define to us.
Oh shit! Did I freeze?
No.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, yeah, you're back. Sorry, I didn't even notice.
Okay. Mike's like, my turn to talk. Let's go. No, I'm kidding.
No. But that's what I would like to do. I would like to define.
Yes,
When
I
is
was
it-
trying
when-
to start to define it, but then I froze.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's why I thought you. I just thought you paused like that was all you were going to say.
No, because I think there is, like how Cameron mentioned, there is a physical death, but then there's also death within, like, the soul itself, I guess. So, I mean, I'm quick to sort of be like, oh, death is like when your heart stops beating or what have you. I guess heartbeat would be physical death. But I think it's something that we could practice more on investigations. Like if we are going to ask questions about like when you died, like maybe rephrasing it more as like when you physically passed away, like your physical body no longer was alive. Because I do think that if there is activity and this person still has like some form of consciousness, like an intelligent spirit, I don't know that I'd call them truly dead, physically dead, but in terms of their soul, no. I do think like residual hauntings that are just energy, that's not really something I consider to be alive. But yeah, I think it's kind of, yeah, it's definitely a philosophical question. I avoided philosophy in school for a reason. I'm a STEM kid. I want the answers. But this is one where it's like it's going to depend on what your individual definition of death is. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I think it's beyond just the body. It has to do with the soul and the if there's still like intelligent capabilities and free will and all that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess I've always just assumed that when you say somebody's dead, it's they're physically dead, like their body is like their soul has left their body and they are no longer living in their body. I mean, I take a very Christian viewpoint from this, and that the soul, in my belief, does not die. It just moves on to a different, like, whether it's our plane or a different plane or somewhere else, it's just living somewhere else. So when I hear the word dead, I just kind of think of the physical body kind of thing. Like they're no longer in their physical body. I know a lot of people, I've actually recently heard in some paranormal investigations when somebody tries to bring up the subject of how a spirit died, they say, oh, when you transitioned, which I think might be an easier way and not so aggressive at like, tell me how you died. If it's a very violent death, it could be still a sensitive subject for a lot of people because it can obviously be traumatic. So I kind of like that approach where if you have to approach the subject, maybe you just go about it in a more subtle, like, if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But I'd like to just pose the question about how you transitioned into the energetic form where you are now, kind of thing. So yeah, I guess my initial reaction is just death is when you leave your physical body and your soul goes somewhere else, but your soul in its entirety does not die. It just moves on to somewhere else.
Scientifically speaking, energy cannot be destroyed. So it's got to go somewhere, somehow, some way.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that. And then I guess in layman's terms, and somebody who isn't part of this field, that is exactly the definition that they would use. Death is when the body dies. End of story. Like that's the line. But as investigators, we go beyond that. We know that that's not exactly true. And that also brings up the question of, like, let's just say, what am I? Or who is Haley? Is Haley her body or is Haley her soul? And if that's the case, if Haley's body dies, then Haley is not dead because Haley is not her body. That's just one part of her that is now gone. And as you said, it's a transition to something else. Another way of phrasing that is even asking them if they're aware that they have transitioned out of their body. I mean, if you're talking about somebody in their death state, they're under the assumption that they're still pretty much alive, and in their body. But Scott, what about you? What do you think?
Well, as far as physical death is concerned, it's when brain activity ceases that you're physically dead.
Mhm.
Your heart can stop, you have no heartbeat, but you're still alive. It's when the brain stops functioning that your body is no longer alive. Otherwise, as far as the spirit is concerned, I don't believe in death. I think death is an illusion. We are spirit. We are our soul, and we are having a bodily experience. Our spirit takes on a body the same way that we get into a car and drive around. Our spirit is taking on this body, and the body is in the soul. The soul is not in the body. Okay? So the soul takes on this body. It uses it to learn what it needs to learn. It has as many experiences as it can. Then when the body wears out, it discards the body and it moves and it goes back home to where it came from, back into the spirit realm. But it's never totally separated from the spirit realm. Some people are more or less conscious of the spirit realm while they're in their bodies. The ones who are more consciously connected to it are the ones that we call the psychics and the mediums and the sensitives. But we all have that connection. Even while we're in our bodies, we are still connected with the spirit realm because we are spirit. So the body is just something that we use for a vehicle that we use temporarily for a lifetime, for a physical lifetime, and then we return to our spiritual life. For some people, they believe that they're in the afterlife, as we have this one life and then we go on to this afterlife. For those who believe in reincarnation, we have this life and then we have a period of time where we have experiences in the spirit realm, and then we return for another lifetime, and then another and another. So anyway, I guess that's my answer. I don't believe in death, strictly speaking. I think death is an illusion. It's a physical illusion, because we are energy, and our energy just transforms from one form to another and back again.
I need to find some sort of like GIF or like a video of like fireworks going off. So like when somebody has an answer like that, I could just play it, and just that's a great answer, Scott, and I completely agree with you. I've even put in, oh, there it is.
The goddess has to come.
The tail's up like the filthy. Never mind.
Oh no, she's a sweetheart.
It's a promiscuous cat. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyways, but no, I agree with you, Scott. And I think that that's something that we as investigators, and I think a lot of investigators, even though none of them will, probably even think about, how to define what a spirit actually is and what state they are in. It's fine and dandy to just go with the standard. Like, oh, how old were you when you died? Well, to them, they, especially if they're intelligent. And again, I'm never talking about residual with this question, because it's not that person. It's not that person's soul. It's not even that person's like intelligent energy. I'm talking if you're talking and around a spirit who actually knows that you are there and is conscious and understands who they are as much as we do. But I have often called them living history. Like William LeDuc, I would consider him to be living history. So, I mean, is it almost rude or inappropriate to go to an intelligent spirit and start talking to them about their death, or asking them when they died, when to them, they haven't? And I have often asked the question, do you consider yourself still alive, to still be living? I haven't gotten an answer either way, but I still ask the question. But I mean, do you think that as investigators, we need to be more like conscious of that and how we phrase those type of questions? Because I mean, it's important to try and connect with them in some way, but is talking to them about when they died or how they died appropriate?
I think in certain situations it might be. It depends, and you have to kind of know what you're going into beforehand. I do think there are probably a lot of situations, at least I would imagine, where it's a very personal thing, and maybe they either like don't know it yet, haven't accepted it yet. So I feel like it's a really sensitive subject, and us coming in as strangers might be a little weird to them. Like, oh, I want to talk to you about this really personal experience that you had that now defines you in my mind. Might not be the best approach to building trust between you and whoever you're trying to talk to. So it's like talking to a person. If a person's gone through a really traumatic experience, you're not going to let that one experience like shape your whole view of them. If you knew them before, you're probably going to just see them in a lot of times the same way that you saw them before. I honestly, in a lot of situations, I think that we kind of lose that humanity aspect between us and spirits, and we see them as something totally different, when in reality they were just people like us. Like, they're not, in a lot of situations, they're not different. Like unhuman entities, that's a whole other situation, but 99% of the time when you deal with like entities that were once human, you just have to treat them with respect as you would treat another living being. They're not that different from when they were actually like in their body living on this earth. So respect goes a lot of ways. I think it's especially that subject, you have to be very careful with how you phrase things, and making sure that you're not coming off as rude or inappropriate or trying to get information from them that makes them extremely uncomfortable, and then they just run away and don't trust humans at all.
Yeah, they either don't want to talk or they react negatively towards us. So yeah, I think it's probably a really good idea to work on phrasing things a lot better.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it could depend from spirit to spirit. Like I would think if I were a spirit, I would probably understand that most people, when they say dead, they probably just mean physically dead. But I can see like there would be certain spirits maybe that are very proud and they don't want to be seen as being deceased when they're very much still alive and still doing things. And I do think, a very important value of our team is to put respect first. So that could be something we all could practice is, I like what Lauren said, like talking about, either honestly not bringing it up at all, because it probably is kind of personal. Or if we do feel, maybe it's a spirit where we feel like we have a good sort of whatever, we know them, we could ask we can ask them if ask them about their transition into their current state rather than phasing it as a death.
When I cross over, if you come and ask me about my death, I'm going to have two reactions as a spirit. first I'm going to say, I'm not dead. I'm still here. Why are you talking? Why would you be talking to me if I was dead? You're talking. If you're talking to me, you know I'm alive. Okay. My second reaction would be, which lifetime? You want?
I thought you didn't believe in past lives.
No, I've told you before. I do. I do believe in past
We-
lives.
We've
But
been through this before.
yeah,
Mhm.
but the part that I have a problem with is that, despite I know I've had many past lives before, but I cannot prove any of them. I cannot prove that I was some certain person at some point in time. There is absolutely no proof of it. So I have a hard time saying that I was that person when I can't prove it. I believe
But all those
that I existed
memories
before.
build up too. And you're like
Mhm.
still kind of that person in a different body.
Mm-hmm. And I can go through a lifetime, go through things from a lifetime that I believe I had in the past and find a dozen parallels with my current lifetime. Well, look at how much I have in common from that lifetime and this one. It's almost like I'm reliving that life in this life, but with some variations. But,
It's like where the term old souls come from.
mhm.
Yeah, I think that's for a lot of people that's the case. They have certain things that they are just naturally good at that they have no explanation for whatsoever. For me personally, and this was a complete shock to me, in 8th grade, so going back a ways, I had life science. That's what pretty much geology. Didn't know anything about it, didn't have a clue, didn't care, and I just naturally got it. Like I was student of the month in that class, and it just for some reason was a natural gift where it didn't matter what it was she was talking about, the teacher, or what book we read, I just instantly understood what it was. And I still don't know why. I still don't have any sort of interest whatsoever in geology. I suppose now I should have a little bit more since, like the earth crust and everything, limestone and quartz obviously is very important to what we do. But still, to this day, no idea. So to me, when getting into this field, anytime people talk about past lives and how they overlap, always brings me back to that and how maybe in a past life that was something that I did. And it just, for some reason, did not, it made it through the filter, so to speak. Because I'm sure that there's a ton of stuff that we learn in our past lives that we don't bring into these for whatever reason. I have no idea. Either we're not supposed to, or it's not important. I don't know. Part of the next question, or the next topic or whatever, which probably won't get to this week, kind of deals with that, in the whole makeup of the universe. But it's very, very interesting. The only problem is you don't know if that's the reason why. And I know we're kind of getting off topic because now we're talking about past life. I'm thinking we're supposed to be talking about the whole when you die, but that's kind of a question that I still am looking for the answer for, is when do you get those memories back? When do you learn about when is everything that you have learned in all of your past lives mix in with all the things that you have learned in this one?
When you leave your body.
When you leave your body.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the there's a question. I can't remember who the hell posed it originally. I don't know. It's not important. But somebody posed the question of maybe when you ask for somebody's name and you don't get it, to them, it's not important.
Mm.
Or I think, as Scott, as you probably would say, which one? Which name are you looking for? And so, I mean, if let's just say tomorrow something happens to me and I'm gone. Tragic as that is, when I leave my body, I then possess all of my former lives, everything that I have ever learned. Is that what you're saying, Scott?
It might not be instantaneous, but I believe that you will, yes. Because I think the soul sticks around for a while before it leaves. I think pretty much every soul stays around for its own funeral before it crosses over.
I flipping will. I want to make sure it's done properly. That's all I'm saying.
But yeah, I think after there's a short interval between your death and the time that you enter, the afterlife, or whatever you want to call it, the life between life, and it's after you do a full crossover is when you get your memories back.
Oh, the full crawl. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if that was the case, if as soon as you leave your body, this body or whatever, the physical body that you are currently in and currently leaving, you get everything, then how do we approach somebody who knows everything? What questions do we ask somebody who's got 50 lifetimes worth of memories and information? I mean, I would think that would be hard to find something they would be interested in. I mean, obviously asking them, do you know who the president is? Which lifetime? I mean, you're almost always going to get that question then. But you're saying that there's a buffer. There's like a waiting period.
Well,
where you get all that back.
But that's almost like momentary. I mean, it's maybe a matter of weeks to us, but that time does not pass on the other side like it does here.
Very true.
Time is physical; it's not spiritual. So their experience of it is totally different.
Well, of course. I mean, time is a man-made construct.
Yeah.
I mean, in energy's terms, there's
empty
there's nothing.
space.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, they say time. People say, like medium stuff like that souls can go forward in time, they can go backward in time, they can do whatever they want because they're energy, and energy can do stuff like that. It's also, I had a point, and as soon as I started talking, out of my head it went. Hate when that happens, but yeah, I lost it. Whatever. Oh, I remember now. Like they're saying that our past, present, and future are all being lived at the exact same time. I mean, I guess as energy, is that true?
And many shamans will even go farther than that and say that all of our lifetimes are being lived simultaneously.
Well, then screw to anybody who says that I couldn't multitask. That's all I'm saying. If I can do like 50 lifetimes at once, so good.
Is this like the string theory where we're all doing different things in a different timeline at the same time?
I don't know if it's so much that. I mean, is it, Scott? I mean,
just theoretically.
that because at a spirit level, time does not exist. So our spirit is participating in all of these lifetimes all at once. You know, it's kind of difficult to explain that. But
Well, you got 20 minutes to do so, Scott. So get thinking.
um, the past, present, and future are the same thing. I mean, even in physics, in quantum physics, that's past, present, and future are not really separated. They they exist simultaneously. The only thing that's really exists is the here and now experientially. So, that's too big a topic. But as far as your other question is concerned, I think that when we're approaching entities or spirits in investigations, the simple thing is to just ask them, can you tell me about your most recent lifetime, your most recent death, what your most recent experience was? And then they're not going to be able to come back with, well, which lifetime or which, or
We need to be specific.
or what was your name in your most recent lifetime? Where did you live in your most recent lifetime? Give them a specific point in our time that we want to address, because to them, it's all the same time.
I wonder, I've never asked this question during an investigation. Maybe I should, or one of us should, depending on, obviously whose team is on. But asking if we believe that the point of our lives is to learn whatever it is we are here to learn, and then as soon as that happens, we move on to the next. Maybe asking them, what were you here to learn? And did you learn it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because if that's the whole point, then it doesn't matter really what lifetime they're talking about. Did they learn the lessons that they were supposed to learn so they could go and be supreme pizza for the source? Sorry. That's what we are. All we are pizza.
I'm good with that.
You might be cat food, but
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, sweet vengeance. I wouldn't doubt it.
If I become cat food?
Yeah, that you are all some sort of delicious pizza, and I'm turned out to be cat food.
Oh, Scott's probably like a keto cauliflower crust pizza.
God, I hope not.
A really good
All I'm
one.
going to say is if there is a God out there, he's not a vegetarian. That's all I'm going to say. Because that would be terrible. Send me to hell. That's where the stakes are. Just kidding. Kidding, everybody.
And she's also not a he. But
whatevs. There's no real. I say it how
I know.
I know. The thing in English is that if you don't know the sex of something, you say what you are.
Yeah.
So, Haley and Lauren would use she, and Cameron Scott and myself would use he. And that's fine. I mean, it's not like any of us are ever going to correct you guys or you correct us. I mean, we all know who we're talking about. So, have we determined And anybody who is watching it, they would like to throw in, their 2 cents of what they believe the line of death should be. And honestly, Scott, I was looking for that answer to see if anybody would be like, there is no line. We don't necessarily ever die. We just move on and keep moving. And whether we are in a physical body, whether we are outside of a physical body, as long as we are us, as long as, if I transition out of this body, as long as I still be me, I would never consider myself dead. The otherwise bodied, sure, but I don't need that. And in fact, based on what I've dealt with in my life, I'd be perfectly happy without that. But that's neither here nor there. That's therapy. So, but these are the questions that we need to ask as investigators to be, I think, the best at what we do. Anybody can go in there and start talking about somebody's death or start trying to rile them up. But when you can actually go in and be respectful and be mindful and try to make the connection based on how they feel, not how you feel or not what you want, almost sometimes not even what the client wants. I have gone into several residential locations and the client just wants the spirits gone. They don't care. They're terrified. They're tired of it. They're frustrated, whatever. They're like, we just want them gone. Make the connection with the spirit to get them to do certain things, the compromise. And all of a sudden there's no problem. I have never had a client yet, and knock on glass, because that's what here's wood. Knock on wood. I have never had a client after the investigation, when things have died down, when things have stopped, when the compromise has been made and the spirit and everybody's holding up their end of the bargain. I have never had a client still say, I want them gone. A lot of it is just fear, and not understanding and the unknown. And we're all terrified of the unknown. As paranormal investigators, that's what we do. We go into the unknown. But even we get apprehensive. We get the shakes, we get startled, and that's an everyday part of the job. But if we can get to them to understand what they are going through, I think you're going to find you'll be a lot more of a successful investigator beyond just going in there and kicking the spirits out. Okay, no response to that.
I'm thinking.
I could respond to that. I just wasn't sure if you were done talking yet.
I took a breath. I'm okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I agree with that. I do think, kind of like I was saying before, there's a humanity aspect that's just lost for some reason.
100%.
When people think of a ghost, they don't think of it as a human, basically, like a human spirit. They think of it as some demon devil thing that's here to haunt them and possess them and kill them. It is 99.9% of the time not the case. As we have said before, it's not a demon. It never is a demon. Just calm down, people. Anyway, I do think that there is one thing that I think a lot of people could bring to paranormal investigating as a whole is more empathy and understanding for the spirits, because they're probably going through a hell of a time trying to find out what's happening if they don't quite understand what's happened. And they don't know what the living people in the home want. Maybe there's just a disconnect. There's no communication happening. And if you're just yelling at somebody, they're going to yell back, it's very hard to communicate when you're not actually like trying to communicate. So in a lot of situations, that's kind of like what Mike was saying. That's what we come in to do, is to try to bridge that gap. And then everybody, most of the time, can coexist peacefully. That's all we're here to do. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That's it.
No, I completely agree with you, and I'm glad that you put it in that terms of it loses it. They lose their humanity. It's like, for some reason, if they don't have a physical body, they're no longer the same as us. And again, that goes to, where is that line? What makes us us? And I think as investigators, we understand more than somebody who isn't in the field and doesn't know anything about the paranormal, that we go on. And I learned a long time ago, and I 100% believe that this is true, is that we keep the same traits in death as we do in life. So if you're a good person in life, if you're helpful, if you're understanding, if you're empathetic, you're going to be that in your death, following your death. If you were a dick, if it was my way or the highway, if you were, I'm the alpha male, you do what I say, that kind of thing. Those are going to be the spirits that, we get the claims of scratching or bruising, or like the figure at the foot of the bed that's glaring down at them, the kids getting bruised or attacked, because they don't care, the spirits don't care. But that's where the investigation comes in. We are there not only to try to end everything, but to understand what is going on. And we all know that a misunderstanding can be huge. I mean, and to your point, Lauren, about being more empathetic and understanding to the spirit's point of view, I've used this analogy before. Let's say you're a former homeowner. You were coming home from work, you got into a car accident and you died. But to you, you're just walking into your house, but all of a sudden your house is different. There's strangers in your house. You're going to start screaming. You're going to start throwing a fit. Why are you here? Get out of my house. Because as the spirit, you don't understand what is going on. And as the new homeowners, you're seeing this angry, spirit that is trying to attack you. It's not an attack so much as it is a cry of, what are you doing in my house? It's a misunderstanding.
Or something to let them know we're here and need help with something.
Exactly. If they understand what happened and they're like, well, here are these people. This was my former home. This is where I felt safe. These people seem like nice people. Let me try to reach out to them and see if they can help me. But even that is going to get misconstrued, as some sort of, because of what's on TV, because every paranormal experience anybody has is leading to a demon. And
okay, can I ask a question quick?
Of course.
So along those lines, I guess, if we think that there are spirits that, are confused about what's going on, and that's why they're maybe lashing out in more, not violent, but loud and kind of interruptive ways, is it maybe appropriate for us at times to try to communicate to them that what has happened to them? You know what I mean? We talked earlier about how it could be seen as rude, but are there cases where maybe they need to be told what has happened? This is for everyone. What are your thoughts?
I know, but I always go last. So I was just going to open it
well,
up.
Like Lauren said before, it depends on the situation and what happened going into the investigation to know prior. So, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think there are some certain situations that might call for that, especially if we get some piece of evidence that leads us to believe that the spirit just wants help and they don't know what to do, they don't know where to turn, kind of thing, then I would maybe suggest like, hey, let's maybe open this conversation and help them kind of come to the conclusion as much as we can. Then again, we don't know if they hear 100% of what we say. There might be some kind of block in the communication there too. So that even if we say it outright, they might not hear us. We don't know. But I do think there are certain situations where it does call for us to try to help the spirits understand what happened to them and maybe help them. I mean, as much as we can only do so much, but maybe help them through it, or maybe bring somebody in that can help them through it.
I think that's the important part about investigating is kind of understanding where your limits are too in your realm of knowledge and with the people you have on your team. What can you do if it's out of your line of help is to get them, the other people, the help that they need in hopes that they have a better time understanding and helping them through it all.
Scott, did you want to chime in?
I'm not sure I have anything to add.
Oh, okay.
They did a good job.
There is one thing that I would like to add to this, and that is putting yourself in their shoes. Not so much even being empathetic, but to understand. You know, I've said before that anybody can listen, anybody can hear, anybody can kind of conceive of the notion, if they're willing. But it's something special when you can understand. And that's where it gets difficult with what we do. And a lot of the times you can start to come up with what is going on just simply by the claims, by putting yourself in their shoes. How would you react to whatever situation is going on? So, I mean, if it's something like footsteps, okay, where are they? Is it coming out of the master bedroom? Well, then is that a former homeowner because they're going to work and back, or, whatever they're doing? That was their thing. Is it a slamming door? Well, what does that mean? When would you slam the door and why? Well, it could be just to get their attention. All right, well, now we have somebody who might just need help. So you can take the claims and the story behind what is going on, and you can try to form a picture. There's always going to be missing pieces, and that is where the investigation comes in. But you can take all of those and really try to make I lost where I was going with this fucking point.
Missing pieces, the investigation.
No, I got everything that I just said. But
okay.
So yeah, I mean, basically,
where's the empathy in it all?
Yeah, put yourself in their shoes.
I like that you're always trying to help me figure this out. I'll get it. It'll come back. I just need to ramble a little bit more. It'll pop back in there. But once we do that, and once we're able to do that, that is, I know what my point was. Yes. And it was the answer to your question, Haley. When is it the proper time to tell them, or to try and at least try to help them figure it out themselves? And I think there's always a time to do it, because that may be the one thing that needs to be done. I mean, if they already know they're dead, it's a moot point. And if they're searching for help because they've realized that they're dead, then there's no need to do anything about it. But a lot of times, that's the one thing that is missing. The former homeowner might be upset that there are strangers in this house. So if you inform them that they have passed on or they have transitioned, that may be the one thing that is needed to make that connection and to understand, okay, now I get it, as the spirit. Now I understand. Because sometimes they're the ones that are confused as well. It's not just the homeowners, it's the spirits as well. But you have to understand how to do it. Like, that is the trick. I have had investigations where it's simply been, do you know that you're dead? And that was the wrong way of phrasing it, but that was the way I phrased it then. And And there are other times of saying, do you understand what has happened to you? You know, and you know, this had happened, or you know, what was the last thing that you remember? And it may get them start to think. There is a proper way of doing it, but I think if they don't know, I think it's one of our responsibilities to at least try and get them to understand what has happened. We just have to watch how we do it. And I just want to throw this in here really quick for Pam. So Echabodine, people can read it on their own. So, I mean, obviously the fact that there's more after the physical body dies, I think is a common theory in the paranormal. But how we react to that is, I think, very, very different. Because as you said, Lauren, we stop thinking of them as humans. We stop thinking them of being alive. And for whatever reason, that somehow turns them into like our flying monkeys. Like it turns them into our entertainment, and it turns them into demons. And it's up to us as investigators to try and see past that. Which I think we're good at doing. We can always be better. But as always, it comes with more experience. It comes with learning. It comes with just growing as an investigator. You know, I said it tons of times. I've been in this field now 11 years, and I'm still learning. You know, so long road ahead for all of us. Yay, we made the whole hour. Boy, that flew by. I'll tell you that much. I almost didn't know if we were going to make that. So yeah, that does it for us here tonight. I hope that you guys enjoyed kind of this new format. What I might do in the future, we'll see, and it'll be up to the team. Is maybe have one main story and then a bunch of like smaller ones, just for one main topic. And if it takes up the whole hour, it takes up the whole hour. If not, we'll have some smaller ones that we can do. But next week, since we didn't get to it, and I didn't want to bring it up until we actually got to it or didn't. Next week, we are going to talk about destiny and fate versus free will. So that is, it's going to be a hell of a conversation. I'm looking forward to it. And then probably Sam will be back. He better be back. And then we'll have Alex and Logan as well. So it'll be eight people on the call. That's a lot of people. So I'm gonna have to start rationing the investigators.
I'll take the night off. Don't worry about it.
No, gotta have my Haley. So yeah, we'll be back next week, next Sunday, 8 p.m. And I hope everybody will join us. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe.